Polite inquiries, Lords. Nick asked, Woakes better than Stokes?
Who?
Oh.
No, I mean, come on, let's be realistic. He's not really, is he? But if he plays here all the time, he might be. There's no way that Chris Woakes, for all that it would have been Edgbaston, he would not have ripped that match away from India in the way that Stokes did. He's not a guy who's going to come into any match in any conditions and rule it, but given the right conditions, he is technically pure. He's got a perfect outswinger when it swings. He's got a perfectly straight bat when it swings. I mean, his control today when batting was as good as anyone.
It was better than anyone, actually. He's the only player anywhere at any test venue who's taken 10 or more wickets to average under 10 and average more than 50 with the bat. But his average with the bat now is just ridiculous. It's only three tests, but Encrypted Layman asks, is this Woakes-Bairstow partnership a series-winning one? It's a good question because...
The answer's yes. England, if they get enough chance to win, are going to win, and it's going to be 2-0 with 3 to play, and you've got to wonder where the score will end up after that.
Well, I don't think India have answered any of the questions about where their runs are going to come from other than Kohli. Alex asks, Indians unprepared, underprepared, or not prepared?
Well, they're not unprepared because they clearly prepared for this series because they seem to think it was the very, very important thing. They are underprepared because they messed around with their schedule. They knocked a day off their Essex warm-up game. They didn't bother to play another warm-up match. And as for being, what's the other option? Not
prepared.
I don't think they were prepared for this.
Oh, it's Encrypted Layman again. I didn't even realise. Well, you've hit the jackpot, Encrypted. Batting style and stature of Ollie Pope, amalgam of Bell and Billings.
I rather like
that would be Billings. No, that is Billings. Bell and Billings.
Billings? He's got a certain technical purity that does bring to mind Bell, but then all these kids today, they got crazy shots. I mean, he was playing ridiculous sort of wristy whips under his nose that were squirting out through point, and I rather like that. It's a bit like that kid at Ilford the other day. We were down at Ilford, and Nasser was in the nets, 2 to win with Nasser bowling at him, and he scooped him over his head. I mean, he was 9 years old. I mean, what do they teach kids these days?
At the risk of calling to mind certain batsmen in the past who've had good-looking low scores, but he looked pretty good for that. He looked like he belonged there. The way he ran, I thought he ran between the wickets really well a couple of times. He was really authoritative in calling Joe Root back for the second. And yeah.
Looked better than Khawaja.
Arib asks, is being aggressive the only captaincy trait that Kohli has?
Well, that and an absolute motherload of runs. That said, his captaincy here has been pretty abysmal. So, I mean, you know, picked the wrong team in the first instance, didn't play Ashwin until 38th over today.
That puzzled me. I thought they'd at least bring him on maybe before lunch. There sort of seems to be a bit of directionlessness, or maybe it goes back to the not prepared thing, in actually, I don't know, knowing what their plans are, what their team is, everything else. And then, of course, there's always a deference to Kohli. No one wants to criticise him too much. Hardik Pandya was asked about 2 spinners, and he was saying, well, if it was a 5-day test, you know, if there were 5 days of play, 2 spinners would be good. Well, it's not a 5-day test. It was never going to be a 5-day test. Akash asks, if all teams continue to fail miserably in away tests, is there any point in playing the Test Championship at all?
Yes, there is definitely a point in playing the Test Championship because the one thing that Test cricket needs is context. There is a problem with 5 Test series if one side gets behind too soon, but there is not a problem with the World Test Championship. That is the thing that Test cricket needs more than anything to stay relevant.
Jimmet asks, will England regret not declaring early given the weather forecast for the next 2 days? Quite possibly. I mean, there are a lot of... Yeah, well, look at it now. I mean, if you looked at it this morning, then you wouldn't have been saying that. Zikita asks, why was Kuldeep bowling full tosses? He was bowling quite a lot of full tosses. All I can think of is that, I mean, he hasn't bowled with the Duke's ball in a test before.
He hasn't bowled in a test for a year.
He hasn't bowled with the Duke's ball.
And I think it's because of that pressure to do something, because you picked 2 spinners on a seaming wicket. You've got to perform. He was clearly nervous, poor chap.
Matt asks, does the Cricket Australia Culture Review need to be extended to the media? 3-match ban for violent conduct. I'd like to say that Naga is okay. He seemed perfectly fine today. do that lots of times. Or like that.
Oh,
Shut! He might have had his lunch through a straw, but other than that, he's perfectly fine. And, I'd just like to say,
he didn't do match day today, did he?
shake hands. This is how we celebrate at the end.
Right, okay.
Hug it out. We'll see you tomorrow.